Welcome to the Leadership Activators podcast. I'm thrilled that you're here. If we haven't met yet, my name is Eyob Yesus. I'm a former sound engineer turned professional coach for leaders and entrepreneurs. I truly believe that it's so important to surround yourself with resourceful minds, and it takes just one idea to create massive change in your life. With each episode, I bring you a special guest or message to help you enable the leader in you and live life on your terms. I trust that you'll enjoy this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you for being you. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Leadership Activators podcast. Hi Eyob, great to see you.
Hello.
Beautiful audience joining us today, this afternoon, 2 p.m. Sydney time. Hey Audrey, great to see you. So we're actually live with the Leadership Activators podcast this year. We used to record the episodes, as you guys know already before, and then publish them. But this year we've got so many people asking us to go live so that they could also ask their question to our expert special guest. And this is what we're going to do. And we are going to have an exclusive Q&A session with my amazing special guest today, Eyob Yesus, in the Leadership Activators Facebook group. So if you guys would like to join us for an exclusive 15-minute session, Q&A session after the show, please join the Leadership Activators Facebook group. So before we move forward with the conversation, I want to welcome everyone on LinkedIn who's now following us and watching us. Everyone on YouTube. I have so many screens right here, trying to see what's going on. The beauty of tech. I feel like I'm in a TV studio at the moment. And so hi LinkedIn audience, hi Facebook audience, and hi YouTube audience. It's great to see you. So Eyob, thank you so much for joining me in this conversation today.
Thank you, Carol. Thanks for having me. So just to let the audience know, I keep looking at you on the right-hand side, but I have to look at myself right here so that I get everyone's attention, isn't it?
Always tricky to know where to look, right?
Exactly. So I'm just in case people are seeing my eyes go diverting towards you, but just wanted to give everyone the heads up.
All good. So apologies accepted. We're all good in case you guys see that we're looking right and left and for some reason we're not looking at you. Bear in mind that we're trying to juggle so many things at the same time. So still sorry about that. So Eyob, you are the director of the Experience Index, and you have founded 2 event-based brands with the intention of creating experiences that connect people. Icon Corporate Events, which is a corporate event management company, and Growth Gen, which we're seeing on your background, which is a member-based organization that runs a series of virtual events that support small business leaders. So with a career spanning more than 21 years in the events industry, you count yourself fortunate to have worked in one of the best industries in the world, indeed, and deliver so many exciting and engaging events. From music festivals to corporate events that deliver value to attendees, you lean into your creative side to organize events that deliver experiences to connect with people. You are also a small business leader that understands that contribution events bring to this world, and you want to deliver experiences that simply connect people. Amazing. Our theme today was based upon your request, which is when we met. I think it was late last year from memory. Yes. And we had this amazing conversation that we could take on for hours and hours. I remember this conversation. And you shared with me amazing insights about the importance and the power of perception and how it shapes our life experience. And specifically in the context of our conversation today, business, and how we lead our business and the results that we get or do not get in our business. So which is why I would love to share this with the audience today, this topic, and lead the conversation around this overarching theme, which is the power of perception in business. So, Eyob, there's a lot of debate and nuances around what the word entrepreneurship means, like the definition of the word. I'm wondering, in your world and based on your experience, what is the definition of the word entrepreneur for you?
Wow. When I think of look, to be on, the first thing that I think of when I think of entrepreneur and defining what an entrepreneur is, I really think of responsibility. For some reason, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. And I think it comes to my mind because I started out as a creative first. Like I said, when I started my events, when I started working in the events industry, I was in the music industry. And creativity was a big part of what we did, from touring with artists to just, listening to music, bringing the type of entertainment that needs to be at a particular event. And not knowing what business is, although I really wanted to be a business owner and I wanted to run my own event management company, I really didn't understand the moving parts. And I think, a lot of entrepreneurs, when they come in, their intention is really, really great. They want to change the world with the events that they create, for example, or they want to open up that cafe that can make somebody's day. But we walk in and we see a different world. We see a completely different world. And the first thing that comes to my mind, or first word that comes to my mind, is responsibility. Because if an entrepreneur understands the gravity of that responsibility and the moving parts of a business, that's really my definition of being an entrepreneur.
Beautiful. I love it. I love how is it that you combined responsibility and also the not knowing of what's ahead. And the only driving force, like the key driving force and motivation, is how is it that we're passionate about making a difference in whatever way we are trying to do it. So in your case, it's actually bringing amazing experiences for people through events. And so for you, how is it that you decided to embark on your entrepreneurial journey? Where did it all start?
So the funny thing is, it actually started from my mom's side. All her brothers and sisters, including my mom, were small business owners or entrepreneurs. And my mom in particular, she was a wedding planner. So she used to organize, wedding stylist. I'll be more specific. So she used to style up weddings, and she had two big boys that she pushed around anytime she wanted to. and we used to help her out. And we saw that entrepreneurial spirit or journey from her, working hard and trying to deliver those incredible weddings that she used to put together. But, dancing, live events, music was a big part of my African heritage as well, so it really does come with that territory. Although events is a lot more than just that. A lot of people think that they can host a party or put on a one-off seminar, and if they have a lot of people there, they think, oh, my event was successful. Yes, it was successful for that particular event, but it's the continuing consistency of that is where the skills of event management comes in, understanding the inputs and outputs around, how do I advertise for this event, or how do I, organize the catering so that it comes out on time. So there's a whole skill behind it. But my journey really started that early with my mom, just helping her out at home. And like I said, we were always in the creative space. I was always dancing, so I always used to get involved in a lot of shows and a lot of just the behind the scenes. I never was the front person, for some reason, although everyone keeps telling me, oh, you should have been the front person from a long time ago. I was like, for some reason, I've always stayed in the background. And I actually did love the inner works of how to create an event, from watching it start from the invites all the way to the technical production. That to me was exciting as well. So that's really where it started. And I've tried to delve into other areas like film and all that type of stuff, but I always went back to events, music events, and then now corporate events.
This is so good to hear. I'm actually very curious about something that you just touched on very briefly. You're like, people are like, you have to be at the front stage.
Yes.
And you're like, yeah, actually, I enjoy the backstage, which begs the question to me, you came across when we had so many chats before today, that you're more of someone who gets energized being around people, like more on the
Mm,
extroverted side of the scale.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So how is it that you enjoy the backstage? I'm super curious about that.
So, an event manager, so I'll just tell you, any true event manager knows that they live for the moment of when they see someone happy at that particular event. Do you know what I mean? That smile or that feedback that says, I had a great event, I had a great party. I had this, oh, this speaker was amazing. How did you find him? Or how did you find her? That feeling is even more stronger than being the extrovert person. But I've always been this person, so I definitely get energized by people. I am definitely a people's person. I was actually, and I think I touched on this with you when we were on our first, when we first met. I was saying that how my energy was always lifted up by people, but I kept finding myself in this event space of organizing things. However, with Growth Gen now, it's changed a little bit. So I am a little bit at the forefront, and hence why I'm here with you today.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
To carry the message of Growth Gen, which is amazing, by the way. I absolutely loved the board meeting that I attended the other day, and the beautiful community of business owners that you bring together. What I absolutely love about it is it's not only focused about business, like it's not only about driving results, bringing the money, that sort of thing. It's this holistic approach of combining business and life together, because yeah, it's very rare to come across this idea and this approach where both are combined and just not one at the expense of the other, which is
Yeah.
amazing. So I'm wondering, Eyob, since you're talking about Growth Gen, so when COVID hit, obviously your events planning business took a hit. So let's put it this way.
Yeah.
And you most probably had to go through this phase where you were looking at different ways to pivot or create new opportunities with the skill set that you have, which is also one of the best traits that successful entrepreneurs have, which is always having this ability to create opportunities and finding and seizing ways to keep going. So in your case, what happened at the time, and what was the thinking? How is it that you thought about creating different opportunities, and what did you create at the time?
Yeah. So the first process around that was assessing everything that I had in front of me. I was very lucky. I will say this because I was a small business. I had the year before that already had gone through a tough time with my business, just in the competing scale. But it didn't deter me from anything. So I was able, first off, to consolidate everything for the business. Then I was able to assess things and just really go through that reflection process, that thought process of saying, do I really still want to be in this industry? Because it's an industry that I've been a part of for 21 years. Like I said, I've been there from the music days all the way to the corporate events that I currently run. And that was the first thing. I had to really assess where I wanted to be in events, and everything about my instinct said, okay, you're still going to be in this industry. This is the industry that you still love. You still have to go for it. Once I made that decision, then it was just a matter of saying, okay, what are the technicalities? So the first thing I did was call up all my clients and said, look, we need to continue with virtual, although our in-person events have been canceled. I'm as new to virtual as you guys are. So one, I'll try and bring all the best technical experts to help me through that process. And then second off, I will pivot to virtual. So as a big part of that, when you do that, the learning process for that, for both your clients and yourself, is really quite a nurturing process. So you need to take the steps to help your clients, one, and then more importantly, teach them, guide them through this process. Because if they had to stop their in-person events and not move to virtual, they would have lost their client base, their member base, and all the touch points that they needed to keep the momentum for their organization to keep going. So for me, that was one part of it. Now, virtual obviously wasn't enough in terms of an income or turnover to get us where we needed to be as a business. So we live, first off, in one of the most luckiest country in the world. I mean, if anyone's been through COVID, through this time, and through a country in Australia, seriously consider yourself really, really lucky, because I can't emphasize how amazing the country this is. My sister lives in Canada, and the stories that I hear there are totally, the opposite. So we're very fortunate, one, with that. And then the second part is I used to organize all, I guess, what I call signature events. So these are creative events that because of my creative mind, my racing mind, my mind that never stops. I literally put it that way, because my challenge in the past 3 years was actually slowing things down, not rushing them through. As a part of that, Growth Gen was an opportunity. So just to give you a heads up, though, Growth Gen was supposed to be was 3 years in the making. First off, so imagine pre-COVID, 3 years in the making, and it was supposed to be a sales and marketing in-person event. Imagine
Whoa.
Imagine,
Wow.
Carol. It wasn't supposed to be what it was today. It was supposed to be a sales and marketing event, and we were going to put on this amazing sales and marketing event. I partnered with a very prominent American design company to actually take Growth Gen to that sales and marketing. And then they had, obviously, when COVID hit, all of that went down. But I also thought this is a great opportunity to go deep as well. So with Growth Gen, that's what I found. So if I'm going to adapt and create something new on a virtual space, I want to do it around a topic that I'm actually comfortable with. And the topic that I was comfortable with, or the subject that I was comfortable with, was small business, because I'm a small business owner myself. And I love events. I've created all these events for member-based organizations for my clients. This is a great opportunity. So all I did was I put on a great summit. So it was called the Growth Gen GG Summit. The first one was very well received, and it keeps getting well received every quarter now that we're hosting that. And with that opportunity, instead of just talking about business, because in Australia, the culture, around the stoic, first off, nature, around it, that's one. And then there's a couple of negative things like the tall puppy syndrome. For me, that was a huge one to sort of get my mind around. So I thought, if you bring in the life aspect into that, it will make a big difference. So what I mean by that is, small business owners, we usually don't think that our lives mix with our business, but in actual fact, we cannot get away from it. We try to act like we're professionals, and we have no problems in the back of our mind. Our kid is in the background, all those things, but we still want to pretend like it's all good. And please understand, I was that same person. Okay, so I was that same small business owner who thought I can get away with everything by being professional and presenting that way. But I couldn't, because it really felt like I was, I was stressing, first off, do you know what I mean? A lot. And as a part of that, to mitigate that, I had to bring my life element into this. And I had a lot to say around my life as well, because I wanted to share it with people. But I really got to a stage where I was struggling with those two things by being professional and being and bringing my life into it. So there's a nice place there that you can integrate those two areas, and that's what Growth Gen is about. So we're trying to show you that you can it's okay for you to work on a Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m., but go to your child's soccer game at 4 p.m. That was what it was all about.
This is amazing. I love your approach about business, and how is it that it created the thinking behind how you decided to pivot and create an opportunity out of what looked like nothing, where everything was just crumbling and falling apart, and all of a sudden a new idea was born. And you leveraged all the different challenges at the time, your expertise, other people in your team also would complement you in terms of tech, when you said that there were some areas that you were not familiar with, to make the most out of the opportunity. Which brings me to my next question that has to do with perception, the key theme of our podcast today. Yes. And I know from previous conversations we had, like the big fan you are around the concept of how important perception is, and in other words, the way we see the world around us, how we perceive the world around us, shapes us, our life, and obviously the results that we get or do not get in our business. So what is your experience around perception, and how did you come to realize the importance and the power of perception in business?
Yeah, so perception for me really started at a very young age. I just keep thinking of my parents and what I was told to grow up. Don't do this thing in front of other people, or make sure you tuck your shirt in front of other people. Yeah, exactly. It really is. The truth of perception is that although they're saying it, it is quite your reality as well at the same time. And this is very important to understand for small business leaders and, business leaders in general. The phrase, fake it to make it has been thrown around for a long time now. And and that may work for some leaders, however, for most part, bringing that perception and aligning it with your reality doesn't really work. So what you want to do is, yes, the perception can push you to the extent of where you are seen as a successful leader and you are seen as a prominent leader. But what we're trying to do with Growth Gen is bring that reality and that perception in a place where small business leaders really understand how to process things, enable it to even amplify even further by understanding some of the pillars that we've put together. So what I mean by that is there's clarity. Clarity is a big one for us. So one of our pillars at Growth Gen is clarity. And what we want to do there is we want to get a really good understanding of where you want to be in your business and in your life. Then create a long-term goal, a perceived goal of where you want to be and where you want to be in both life and business, and work towards that goal. So it's not something that you showcase as such. It's more something that you keep for yourself, and you utilize that I wouldn't say a motivator. Actually, I would say it's more of a creating a plan around this picture that you have of where you want to be perceived in both your life and in business. So perception for me is a very from a perception. Perception for me really kind of helps a lot of small businesses out there to see beyond what they're capable of at the moment. So utilizing this particular way of doing things, you're able to align your get that clarity in place, create the habits that you need to get to that place, and then execute according to that.
Oh, I love it. It reminds me of one of the conversations I had once with the human behavior expert, and he was talking about the distinction between motivation and inspiration. Because at some point you shared that I'm not going to call it a motivation or way to motivate.
Yes.
It's more like a plan. And there was this idea of creating the picture or the vision of where is it that I would like to be headed in my life and in business. And that will be the pulling factor that will get us out of bed every morning, because obviously human behavior is a yo-yo roller coaster. So it's like some mornings you're working on the wrong side of the bed, and some mornings you're waking up on the right side of the bed. And consistency, like you shared at the beginning, is one of the most challenging habits that a business owner needs to build over time. Because it can go really well. Yippee, today we're on the right side of the bed and everything's aligning. And sometimes everything is going in the wrong direction, and we really need to pull it off still and create this consistency around how our clients are receiving the product or the delivery of the product or the service, which actually comes into where the leadership world comes into place. Because one of the key aspects that I found with business owners who find it challenging to lead a business is that there is this sense of haven't had developed yet a strong inner compass. Because you also shared that we need to start creating those tiny habits that are going to stack in such a way that are going to drive this ultimate vision that we have in place. And the vision might change, it might have new aspects to it, new layers to it as we start evolving with our new set of eyes. So in your world, building this strong inner compass, this leadership, I know that you've been experiencing perception and the power of perception since you were a child. Now today, with today's eyes, having gone through all this journey so far, what does the word leadership mean to you today?
So leadership, in two words this time instead of one word, it's simply influence and guidance. But where it starts from, it's influence and guidance in yourself first, and then you can be able to lead others after that. So that inner compass that you're talking about is something that is so important for I think for small business leaders, especially because, like I said, when they start out, their intentions are in the right place. They want to create the best cafe to make somebody's day. But the moving parts of business distracts them from what the core of the same reason why they started the business a couple of years ago. And then you see in 5-10 years time, most of them are exhausted, overweight, all those things that add to them. But that inner compass, working on that inner compass actively. So like you're working on your business actively, working on that inner compass is so important. When you have that right, then you'll be able to lead a team. Then you'll be able to lead people. Then you'll be able to lead an organization. It's so important to have that inner compass fulfilled, so that the guidance and the influence comes out clearly, so very, very important to have that.
Yeah, I hear you, and I totally see where you're coming from. I absolutely love what you shared, and you touched on the importance of having values. One of them was clarity for you at Growth Gen, which is also one of the key pillars of how you would get the vision to be solid, to standing on solid ground. So in your world, Eyob, when you look at your personal value that you've come to realize over time, like what is it that you value in your life? How much of your personal values have you brought forward with you in your business? And what did you need to change to be more suitable for the business world?
Yeah, so a big one that I bring to both worlds is definitely my kindness. I am definitely I see I'm kind by nature, you know, in every single way. I'm definitely a people's person. I empathize with people's feelings and understanding, and I try to meet them where they are. There was definitely a patch in my life where I went through the tough times where, you know, I felt the world was against me, if you want to call it. And everyone goes through those times. But
Inevitable,
the
yeah.
one
I think we're
Sorry,
back.
Carol, we
Can you
missed
hear
you
me?
there for a second. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can hear you.
I
Can you hear
think
me?
that we lost the connection. Yeah, all good. We're back
Okay.
live. Yeah. Yeah, I was saying
Okay.
that it's inevitable. It's inevitable to go through this as well. So the challenge of finding that everything's happening to us and why me, and that sort of
Yeah.
blaming position to be in. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I think you only want to change if you really want to change, you know? So a lot of people say, oh, I want to change, I want to change, I want to change. But you really need to put in the effort, put in the work in order to change. And more importantly, assess those things, you know, you assess those values in your life so that you can become better. So kindness is definitely a big part of what I do. I mean, till this, I've got a 6-year-old, 4-year-old, and a and a 5-month old, so I'm pretty pretty hectic house. But you know, the first things that I teach my kids, you know, when I tell them when I ask them who they are, is, you know, I need them to say, I am kind, I am beautiful, I love myself, and I'm kind, I'm beautiful, I love myself, and what was the last one? There was one more thing as well, but those are the
It will
three
come
things.
back. It will come back.
I will come back. I know, just a brain freeze there for a
I
second.
just sent you a
Uh,
love emoji because there are so many people in our beautiful audience who are saying, love your
yeah,
kindness, Eyob. And yeah,
thank
so
you.
on the Facebook and the LinkedIn feed. So I'm just sending you an emoji there from the audience.
Yeah, be kind to yourself first, and then being kind as well to others. So important, you know, just understanding that those two things, because being kind to yourself, especially as a small business owner, when you're going through a tough time and you're really trying to push through, is a tough one because you're always criticizing yourself. You're like, why didn't I remember this? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I, you know, deliver this? So there's so many. Just remembering that part is so important, because I remember I went through all of that, and I'm only talking this, telling you all this because I've been through this myself, and I hope all I want to do is just share the story, and hopefully it will help some other people out there. But kindness is definitely a big one. I've always been a doer as well. Do you know what I mean? So I get things done, no matter what, and that is definitely a value that I took to my business as well. So those two things. I either find a way of getting things done. You know, I'm the type of person who thinks of an idea and goes and get it done. Sometimes it costs me, of course. There's no doubt. let's not sugarcoat this. Not everything is going to be all rosy and gravy, but it gets done. So I definitely want to emphasize that part as well, because again, like I said earlier, my racing mind, my ID mind, just keeps ticking. So IDs is not an issue for me. It's more okay. Just take your time, bring in the right people, surround yourself with the right people, then do things. So that was my challenge in the last 3 years, especially after my business went through some tough times, like I said, and I really had to reassess things. I just say, slow down. But I am so grateful that I'm here today as well, Carol.
Yeah, I hear you. I can see that it looks like you've been through an amazing journey of ups and downs, this roller coaster that I was sharing earlier. And this is what makes you who you are today. And you touched on kindness and getting things done, and the power of leveraging the perspective of other people also to make sure that you're getting it executed in the best way possible, which is great. Which is another learning experience. You've also went through phases where you did things and what was not executed the best way possible, maybe too much excitement, not enough planning, and then boom, but then you learn. Amazing gift behind the scenes for us. Which reminds me of a book actually that I read a couple of years ago with the caring and kindness part that you shared about being kind to you as a strong inner compass that you brought to your business too. It's called Love Yourself, Like Your Life Depends on It. Have you come across this book?
No, I haven't actually. I'll have to write it down after this.
It's a really good book. Absolutely loved it.
Wow.
What is actually a book that you have recently read that you loved and that you'd recommend to our audience?
Yeah, I actually just want to share a book. So I was thinking about this question because I know, and it's something that I really want to share this book with you guys. So it's called Ego is the Enemy, and it's by Ryan Holiday. I'm not sure if you've read that book.
The obstacle is the way, the stoicism part. Yeah.
Yeah. So that book has really sort of, impacted me to the extent that I keep reading it over and over again. And the reason why I keep reading it over and over again is because I want to ensure that those values go into my head and not let my ego, do you know what I mean?
Repetition, like ego out of the way.
That's it. Ego out of the way. Yeah, that's slowing down. That slowing down part is this. You know what I mean? So it's if I want to rush, then it's the ego rushing through. But if I want to take my time, actually build something great, make an impact in this world, I need to think of that. And I wanted to share that book in particular because it is a hard book. Okay. So if you want to face your truths, just read that book. But it is so super rewarding. Sorry?
Up close and personal. Face your truths.
Up close and personal. That's right. Yeah. But it's super rewarding. You need to read books like that that can help you break through those challenges that you have. And that's if you really want to change. And if you really want to be where you need to be, if you really have a picture and a goal that you want to get to, you need to read books like this that can challenge you and that can show you the ropes of different ways of thinking of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this book. And I also love how is it that you read the book more than once. You go through the same parts again and again and again.
Yes.
Which brings us back to the idea of having a new set of eyes, new pair of eyes as you move forward on the journey. And now that we're reading the same part, we start seeing things that we didn't see before. Or things start to make sense to us, maybe they didn't before. So absolutely love how is it that you're layering your learning along the way and creating this depth around it. I'm very curious about a challenge. So if we were to throw a challenge to our listeners, to our audience, let's say a 30-day challenge that you believe will create a high impact in their business and in their life. If they're running a business, I know that some people in our audience are not business owners yet. So what would be an amazing 30-day challenge that you would throw to our audience, a challenge that would create a high impact in their life? Eyob.
So it's funny you mentioned this challenge, and I love hearing this. But this week at Growth Gen, so we have a Clubhouse show called The Biz Life by Gigi, and you were a part of that show. So it's
a great show. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a fantastic show. We have 3 resident mentors that help us run these shows, and we dive deep into a particular topic. And this week's topic is actually reflection. And reflection is probably one of the most underrated, methods that a lot of people don't use out there. So if you can reflect every day for 5 minutes on your life and on your business, 5 minutes each, okay? That's all you need to do. You just need to say to yourself, okay, how did my day look? What could have I done better? Is this okay Or is this me? You know, just simple questions that will help you see, that will help you give you clarity of where you want to be in both your life and your business. This is the challenge that I want to throw out there, because it really is the most underrated tool out there. And it's so easily accessible, but we can't, for some reason in our lives, can't take 5 minutes out of our day to really say to ourselves, okay, what did my day look like? Should I be doing this?
To pause.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And no, you know, reflection has so many other tools. There's meditation, there's all type of stuff, there's journaling, but this is the one that I want you to focus on. Just take 5 minutes and ask these questions to yourself, you know, what, why, where, how could I have done better? But just reflect on your day.
I love this, creating those tiny habits or atomic habits in James Clear's words. This is one of the key habits that I believe also has impacted me a lot. And I love the challenge that you threw there, because sometimes we do it and then we forget about it. Something else goes. Yeah. So this consistency, again, to bring back the conversation to where it started, one of the biggest activators for business success and life success is to create consistency around the habits that are resourceful, that are going to lead the way to get us to reach the vision that we have designed for ourselves. And it's funny, because one of the things that I noticed when I first started doing this was that I had the tendency to look at what was not working. So where I went wrong. And interestingly, over time, and of course, working with amazing coaches along the way, I have come to realize the importance of looking at the other side of the spectrum. What went great? What can I do more of? Yeah. It's so interesting to see how the brain defaults straight away to what's missing most of the time, and starting to build this muscle and creating the whole picture, how we perceive things, again, the perception. So powerful to also give ourselves a pat on the back where we did great. So the acknowledgement of the self, being kind to the self, which brings us back to what you were sharing about kindness and the importance of being kind. Amazing. Thank you so much, Eyob, for this conversation. It was an absolute pleasure having you here with us. Thank you. And to the audience there who is still with us, thank you so much for being with us and joining us. We're going to take a 3-minute break. We're running a bit behind. So we're going to take a 3-minute break. And then if you'd like to join us for the Q&A in the Leadership Activators Facebook group, we're going to go live again in the Leadership Activators Facebook group in 3 minutes. Get your questions ready. And we're going to go for a 15-minute exclusive Q&A session where you get to ask your most burning questions to Eyob straight away inside the group. I have just posted the link in the comments section so that you know where to go next. And Eyob also has a special gift for those of you who are going to join the Q&A session in the group, which we're going to be revealing after the Q&A session. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you in the group in 3 minutes. Bye for now.
Thank you, everyone.